What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more acid trance, and we're going to look at another tune from the sort of classic era, as I've been calling it. I believe this is 97. Let me just make sure before I start introducing the track itself. Alright, so this is 96. So yeah, I was a little late, but yeah, bottom line, this is another tune from sometimes what I call like the absolute golden era year. So many artists and labels that I'm fond of put out just unbelievable records in 96, and this is apparently another one. So we're going to look at a tune by RMB called Reality, but we're going to look at the Commander Tom remix. And I've talked about Commander Tom before. If you don't know who he is, his real name is Tom Weyer. He was a German hard trance artist, like very famous and rightly so, sort of a legend in the scene. Go read my review on Discogs. I'm pretty concise. Again, it seems like when I review producers, I tend to be a little more precise or concise than when I review tunes, where I get very long-winded. But yeah, just a legend of the scene. Did a lot of remixes of people's tracks, a lot of Commander Tom remixes out in the world, including this one, but also made some of his own tunes, including a very famous one, RMI, which I actually don't think is among his very best tunes. It's good, but I think, the Acid of House, and he did a remix of the Acid of House. It's just incredible. Like, there's a bunch of tunes that he did that I think are actually superior to RMI. But, of course, I do have RMI. I have the Additive release, which I think has a couple remixes on it, but I think the original does remain sort of the classic. Regardless, that's what we're going to listen to right now. We're going to listen to RMB Reality, the Commander Tom remix. What label is this on? What label is this on? It is on Low Spirit Recordings. So this is Low Spirit. Yeah, I guess it does say that there. It's just a little hard to read because it's in a sort of eclectic font and it's very small. My apologies. Nevertheless, here we go. The Commander Tom remix. Let's get it. I don't remember where I heard this back in the day. I'm not going to call it a Shnootz roots, but I definitely heard it at a party, like let's say 97, 98, something like that. Might have been that the Southern California female trance DJ Chelsea spun it. I'm not sure. She used to play with this other DJ named Charlie Brown quite a bit. I'm not sure if they were like, a pair, but they were on bills together quite a bit. I don't even know what you call it. It's like extended, but it's also sort of like, the volume wavers a little bit. I like the way that vocal is played with, and it's always at the measure transition. It's like leading into it, but fast, right? You can tell this is 96. Spin like this now and people are like, bro, what are you doing? It's so fast. I'm like, yeah, but this is the vibe, man. So, notable, this is 96. This is definitely trance, but that was a nice little Hoover riff, right? Hear that acid? Like rich layer of acid. It's just going to keep growing and getting louder and building. Bassline got a little stronger there. Like that Hoover. Heard me say it before, if done right, blending Hoovers and acid work can be amazing. It can be very, very tasty. like very like keyboardy sort of tone melody. Very energetic, very habitant, but that melodic layer is sort of like put me more in the headspace. I'm thinking like dusk at an outdoor party. I think you can work indoors too. It's like fast and, you know, especially that opening part is very like rocking. Whereas now again, it's rocking, but there's like an elegance to it. But again, I can see this like really hitting outdoors, like right as sort of, you know, the sun's going down, the moon's coming up, or, you know, becoming more visible. First of all, extending that tone melody the way it did. Let's go back and hear that. And then it just hits one and just goes. And then this grand, like, big melody comes in. That, like, repeated tone is such an... It's unusual, but I like it. I remember when I first heard it, I thought it was weird, but it was like... And I still sort of get that vibe. But it works. I think it's... You couldn't go this long without introducing something else. It works because now this melody is, like, big and over the top of it, but... Acid and the kick drum coming back in, like, gradually, not as a drop, but as a build. And I feel like when it really releases in a moment, we're gonna get those hats again. It's a tune. Shout out to Commander Tom, legend. Part of the outro, like, you know, de-escalating outro, but it's like conventional yet not, is I guess what I'm saying. Love an outro like this. You can end the mix with this beautifully, but again, if you already have another record that you're double dropping in and it's like hitting while that's layered, or even just with this, and then to finish it with that Hoover sting. Wicked. Yeah, it's classic. I think it's very much indicative of that mid-90s eccentric brilliance that you just got from so many acid trance producers. I failed to mention Tom Weyer is one half of Mandala and Nexus 6. So, not only was he making tunes under his own name or his, main name, but he was making tunes. That's right. Raymond Bayer was the other guy, or Raymond Boy. Ray Boy was an alias. Apparently, Raymond Bayer was the real name, or is the real name. But yeah, they made tunes as Mandala and Nexus 6, and there's one Nexus 6 EP, and then a bunch of remix records that came out. But that is just a legendary record. The Mandala stuff, legendary. So yeah, this guy was just an unbelievable force to be reckoned with in the hard trance and acid trance worlds. And again, go look at my review on Discogs. I do make the point in the Discogs review that, at the time and maybe even now, there's a couple names that, maybe jump slightly ahead in a photo finish for me and my taste, which is to say Pablo Gargano and Cores, especially those two guys. Honestly, there's a few year period where both of them, they didn't make a single tune that I'm not ecstatic about. But again, Commander Tom is basically right on that same level, just an absolute acid trance and hard trance legend, even though, as I said, his most famous tune, RMI, is perhaps not my favorite from him. We still might react to it. It's still a legendary tune, even if, again, there are acid trance tunes he made, which I consider better. But yeah, shout out to him. This remix is amazing. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Let me know if, you hear that sort of 90s fast, sort of wild, sort of eccentric brilliance that I hear, or let me know if that to you is not the greatest tune for whatever reason. All opinions are welcome here. Let me know if you have any more recommendations or requests, any suggestions. Any feedback is indeed appreciated. Other than that, have a good day, have a good night. I will see you next time. Peace.